if we are successful, and I believe we will, and we are as we speak, in integrating Credit Suisse, i.e. two global systemic relevant banks, is going to be a case study to be evaluated globally, but also particularly in Europe, where eventually the necessity of creating stronger banks and stronger and more competitive banks from a global standpoint of view is, in my point of view, a necessity. In order to achieve that, I just had a chance to mention that, also reiterate these comments I made to you. Of course, we can't just rely on a crisis to create or facilitate the merger of banks. I mean, of course, it's good to have strong players that can be part of the solution, like UBS was in the Credit Suisse case. And by the way, as we speak, I mean, as of now, UBS of today is the outcome of 520 acquisitions in 160 years. And many of them were driven by strategic decisions, but many of them were driven by banks being in troubles and us being allowed or asked to be part of the solutions. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it cannot be just that part. So, but in that sense, I think that the real issue is not, there has to be a political desire to facilitate something like that. So, and it's not the reality of today. The good news is that, in my view, in many countries, there is a recognition that they want to protect their banks and their financial institutions as national champions, which is an implied or explicit recognition of their value for their economies. But the bad news is that they don't realize that in order to really be meaningful and go to the next level of their contribution in their economies, they would need to be also more competitive globally. And so, but without a banking union, without a capital market union, it's going to be very, very difficult for Europe to compete with the US large banks. And fundamentally, you all know that the economies are still relying in Europe to the banking sector for financing for 70% of the business, of the cases. In the US, it's the other way around. So we have a completely different playing field and lack of critical mass. So I hope, I'm not so convinced it's going to happen soon, but I hope eventually one day those kind of mergers between larger banks will be allowed, and we can contribute to that by showing that it's possible.